The world you perceive is not fixed, not rigid, not separate from you. It is fluid, malleable, responding to the assumptions you hold within. Every event, every circumstance, every so-called random occurrence is nothing more than the reflection of your inner state of being. The lottery, like everything else in life, is not won by chance, nor by effort, but by alignment. Alignment with the state of already possessing that which you seek. You have been conditioned to believe that wealth, success, and fortune are determined by external forces. You have been told that probability and statistics govern the outcome of your desires, that luck is something given to some and denied to others. But what if I told you that these are mere illusions, constructs of the mind that only have power because you have given them power? What if I told you that the only force at work in your life is the force of your own assumption? There is no separation between you and your desire except the separation created in your own mind. You see the winning ticket as something outside of yourself, something to be attained, something to be earned. But in doing so, you confirm to yourself that you do not yet have it. And as long as you persist in that state, as long as you see yourself as someone who wants to win rather than someone who has already won, the fulfillment of your desire remains distant, always just beyond your grasp. The key is not in effort, not in strategy, not in desperate wishing, but in knowing. Knowing that what you seek is already yours. Not tomorrow, not in some distant future, but here and now. The moment you shift from wanting to possessing, from hoping to knowing, you step into the state that compels reality to conform. The world must rearrange itself to reflect the assumption you hold. This is law. It is unbreakable, immutable, and always at work, whether you are conscious of it or not. So before you buy that ticket, before you let the outer world dictate your fate, go within. See yourself already in possession of the prize. Feel the weight of the check in your hand. See the confirmation numbers before you, as though they were already printed in reality. Feel the rush of gratitude, the joy, the certainty that comes with knowing that it is already done. And when you have assumed this state fully, completely, when the feeling of already having won is more real to you than anything the outer world suggests, then and only then do you take action. It is not the action that brings the result. It is the state of mind in which the action is taken. The one who buys a ticket in desperation, in hope, in uncertainty, only affirms to themselves that they do not yet have what they seek. But the one who acts from a place of fulfillment, from the unshakable knowing that they have already received their desire, sets into motion the unseen forces that bring their assumption into physical reality. You do not need to know how it will happen. The mind, conditioned by logic and reason, will attempt to impose limits, to question, to doubt. It will say, but how can this be? But what if it doesn't work? But what if I lose? Ignore these voices, for they are nothing more than the echoes of past conditioning. They have no power except that which you give them. Let them pass like clouds in the sky and return always to the feeling of already having received. There is no effort in this, no strain. You do not force the outcome. You allow it. The more natural this assumption becomes, the more easily the world molds itself to your state of being. It does not require struggle. It requires only that you remain faithful to the end result, unwavering in your belief that what you have assumed is already true. And so I ask you, before you take that step, before you buy that ticket, before you look outside of yourself for confirmation, will you first confirm it within? Will you first step into the state of already being the winner? Will you dare to claim what is already yours? For if you do, if you truly embody the state of the wish fulfilled, then nothing, no statistic, no probability, no force in the world can prevent it from becoming your reality. You do not win because of chance. You win because you have already become the winner in consciousness. The world is not a collection of random events, nor is it dictated by probabilities and odds. The world is the mirror of your inner state. and everything you experience is the direct outpicturing of what you assume to be true. When you hold a belief, whether consciously or unconsciously, it crystallizes into the events and circumstances of your life. The question is not whether you are lucky enough, deserving enough, or in the right place at the right time. The question is, who are you in consciousness? Do you see yourself as someone struggling, someone hoping, someone waiting for fortune to favor them? Or do you see yourself as one who has already received? One for whom winning is inevitable? One whose assumption of success is so natural that it simply must come to pass? There is no force outside of you determining your fate. No number drawn at random, no system, no logic that decides your outcome. The only determining factor is the state of being in which you dwell. If you persist in seeing yourself as one who is always just outside the realm of success, then life will continue to reflect that back to you. If you persist in believing that you are not yet in possession of your desire, then that belief alone will be the very thing that keeps it from you. So before you attempt to change the outer, first, change the inner. You do not need a new method, a new technique, or a new strategy. You need only a new assumption. The assumption that the prize is already yours. That the moment you desired it, it was already done. Not in some distant future. Not dependent on circumstances, but now. For there is no other time but now. Many believe they must first see evidence before they can believe in their own success. But this is the great misunderstanding. The evidence will always follow belief, never precede it. The moment you accept the reality of your wish fulfilled, even before the world gives you proof, you have set into motion an unstoppable chain of events. The numbers, the ticket, the so-called random selection, these are only the symbols that will come forth to reflect the assumption you have already made. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to manipulate the external world to fit your desire. Your only task is to assume that what you desire is already yours, and to dwell in that knowing with unwavering faith. When you truly assume this state, the world will move in ways beyond your comprehension to bring about its fulfillment. You will be led to the right place at the right time. You will be compelled to take action in a way that feels effortless. Events will unfold so naturally that you will look back and see that every step, even those that once seemed insignificant, were part of the inevitable unfolding of your assumption into reality. Doubt has no place in this process. The moment you entertain thoughts of uncertainty, of lack, of impossibility, you shift from the state of having to the state of wanting. And wanting only begets more wanting. But when you stand firm in the state of already possessing, when you refuse to entertain anything less than the full acceptance of your desire as a present reality, then nothing in the world can keep it from you. This is not about wishful thinking. It is not about hoping. It is about knowing. Knowing that you are the cause of your own reality, knowing that the only thing standing between you and your desire is your own assumption. When you embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you move through the world with the certainty that what you seek is already yours, you become the magnet that draws it forth into manifestation. You do not need to concern yourself with the how. The conscious mind will always seek to understand, to plan, to calculate. But the truth is that the conscious mind is limited. It sees only what is immediately before it, while the unseen forces of creation are already working in ways beyond comprehension. Trust that as you persist in your assumption, the bridge of incidents will appear. The path will unfold before you, and it will feel so natural that you will wonder how you ever doubted in the first place. So before you act, before you take a single step in the outer world, pause and ask yourself, who am I in this moment? Am I the one who is hoping, or am I the one who already knows? Am I the one who wishes, or am I the one who possesses? The answer to this question is the answer to everything you seek. Can you feel it real? Can you, in this very moment, accept as true the thing you desire, not as something distant, not as something that may happen, but as something that has already happened? The secret is not in the world outside, not in numbers, odds, or probabilities. The secret is within. The secret is your imagination. All things exist in the unseen before they are made visible. Every great fortune, every success, every so-called miracle was first imagined before it came to be. But most look upon their desires as separate, as something they must chase, something outside of themselves. And in doing so, they affirm their lack. They unknowingly declare, I do not yet have it. And as long as that belief is alive, the outer world will continue to reflect it. If you wish to experience wealth, do not wait for the evidence before you believe. Do not wait for numbers to align before you feel the joy of winning. Instead, go inward. Close your eyes and see yourself already in possession of the thing you seek. Feel the exhilaration, the gratitude, the profound knowing that it is already yours. The mind may argue, but I have no proof. Yet proof is only the shadow cast by an assumption long held. Do not seek confirmation from the world. The world will only mirror back to you what you have already accepted within. You are always imagining, whether you are aware of it or not. Every moment, you are painting upon the canvas of creation, shaping reality with your inner conversations, your assumptions, your deeply held beliefs. But most imagine unconsciously, unaware that their habitual thinking is creating the very conditions they seek to escape. They imagine struggle, and so they struggle. They imagine lack, and so they experience lack. But if they would only dare to shift their imagination, to persist in a new assumption, they would find that the world would obediently conform. Can you dare to assume the feeling of already having won? Can you sit quietly and lose yourself in the reality where it has already happened? Can you hear the sound of celebration, the voice of a loved one congratulating you, the weight of the check in your hands? Can you feel the relief, the certainty, the excitement of already possessing your desire? If you can hold to this feeling, if you can accept it as your reality before the world gives you a single shred of evidence, then you have mastered the great secret. Doubt is the only enemy. The moment you question, the moment you look outside and say, but it has not happened yet, you have undone your work. The seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, yet you do not dig it up to check if it is growing. You trust, you allow, and so it must be with the seed of your assumption. Plant it deep within, and water it not with worry, but with unwavering faith. It is not imagination that is unreal. It is the outer world that is the illusion. What you imagine and persist in will harden into fact. This is not wishful thinking, not blind optimism, but law. The law of assumption dictates that what you believe and accept as true will, in time, objectify itself in your world. There is no exception to this, no circumstance that is beyond its reach. Most believe they must work, struggle, or compete to obtain what they desire. They look to the world as cause and to themselves as effect. But this is the great reversal. You are the cause. Your imagination is the only reality, and the world is nothing more than its shadow. If you wish to change the shadow, you do not wrestle with it. You change the source that casts it. All things are possible, but only to the one who dares to believe. Can you believe in your own unseen wealth more than the evidence of your senses? Can you trust in your assumption even when nothing yet confirms it? Can you walk in the world as though the thing you seek is already yours? If you can do this, if you can truly feel it real, then the outer world has no choice but to bring forth the proof, the numbers, the ticket, the so-called random selection. These are nothing but the bridges that lead you to the fulfillment of your assumption. They are not the cause, they are the effect. Your only task is to live in the end, to occupy the state of the one who has already received, and to persist in that knowing until the world yields. It will, it must. For imagination creates reality. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The moment you ask how, you step out of the state of already having and into the state of waiting. And as long as you are waiting, you are declaring that you do not yet have it. The great misunderstanding of the world is that things come from external effort, from strategies, from logical planning. But I tell you, they come only from within. Everything in this world is a reflection of an inner state. Every fortune ever won, every success ever achieved, was first established in imagination before it became fact. You do not need to manipulate circumstances. You do not need to force results. You need only to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And the unseen forces of creation will arrange the bridge of incidents that leads you to your desire. The mind, trained by the world, seeks control. It wants to know the process, the exact steps, the method by which the result will come. But this need to control is what keeps the desire from manifesting. There is no need to figure out the path. The path will unfold naturally the moment you assume that you already have what you seek. You do not need to dictate how things should happen. You only need to accept that they have happened. The world moves in response to your assumption. It does not matter what seems possible or impossible. All that matters is what you accept as true. If you assume that wealth comes to you effortlessly, then it must. If you assume that fortune is yours, then the world must find a way to make it so. But if you allow doubt to creep in, if you look to circumstances and say, "But I do not see it yet," then you have undone your own work. You must remain faithful to the unseen, for it is the unseen that shapes the seen. Most people attempt to force reality into submission. They look at the lottery and believe they must study the odds, pick the perfect numbers, find the right method. But they have missed the fundamental truth. It is not the action that determines the result. It is the state of being in which the action is taken. The one who acts from a place of certainty, from a place of already having received, sets into motion an invisible current that carries them to the fulfillment of their desire. The one who acts from doubt, from fear, from lack, only reinforces the state of not having, and so the world mirrors back to them more lack. Can you act as one who already has? Can you step into the world not as one who hopes to win, but as one who knows they have won? This is not pretense, not make-believe, but law. What you assume to be true will harden into fact. If you assume that wealth flows to you, it must. If you assume that fortune follows you, it will. The means by which this happens is irrelevant, for the means are always created by your assumption. Do not let the rational mind interfere. It will tell you this is impossible, you must be realistic, you must follow the rules of probability. But these are nothing more than limitations placed upon you by past conditioning. The mind sees only what has already been created, but imagination sees what is yet to be. If you trust imagination, if you persist in your assumption, then reality will shift to accommodate it. The outer world is not solid, not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, bending always to the assumptions you hold. If you persist in the state of already having, if you refuse to accept anything less than the fulfillment of your desire, then the world must bring it forth. It has no choice, for it is only the shadow of your inner world. You do not need to concern yourself with probabilities. Probability belongs to those who believe in chance, but there is no chance, only creation. What you assume is what you experience. The moment you dare to believe in the unseen more than the seen, you will understand the great truth. The world is responding to you. Step forward in certainty. Do not wait for proof. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you believe. Change your belief and circumstances will follow. Walk in the assumption of already having and watch as the world reshapes itself in response. For what you assume to be true will be true. You have been taught to believe in effort, in struggle, in external forces that dictate the course of your life. You have been told that winning is a matter of chance, that success belongs only to the fortunate few. But I tell you, the only fortune that exists is the fortune you claim for yourself. The only luck is the assumption you hold. And the only power at work in your life is the power of your own inner conviction. Nothing in this world exists independent of consciousness. Nothing happens to you that you have not first assumed within. Whether you are aware of it or not, You are always assuming something about yourself, about your world, about your circumstances. And those assumptions, those unseen silent beliefs, are what shape your reality. They dictate what opportunities arise, what doors open, what events unfold. If you believe that wealth is something distant, something rare, something difficult to attain, then that assumption alone is enough to keep it from you. If you believe that you must work hard, struggle, and compete in order to receive abundance, then your life will be filled with struggle. But if you dare to assume that success is inevitable, that wealth flows effortlessly to you, that winning is simply a natural part of your experience, then the world will reflect that assumption back to you in ways you cannot yet imagine. You do not win by luck. You win because you have already assumed the state of being the winner. You have already felt it real. You have already accepted the end as a present fact. And when you do this, the world must conform, for the world is only a shadow cast by your inner reality. Before you take any action, ask yourself, from what state am I acting? Are you moving from a place of fear, of doubt, of hoping things will go your way? If so, then you are affirming that you do not yet have what you seek. And as long as you hold to that assumption, the world will continue to show you lack. But if you act from a place of certainty, if you move through the world as one who already possesses, already knows, already claims, then your outer reality will shift to accommodate that knowing. You will be led effortlessly to the right place at the right time. You will take actions not from desperation, but from inspiration. The right numbers, the right choices, the right opportunities. They will come not because you chased them, but because they were drawn to you by the force of your assumption. You must first win within before you can win without. If you buy a ticket while doubting, while hoping, while wondering if it will happen, then you are only reinforcing the belief that you do not yet have it. But if you purchase that ticket with the feeling that it is already yours, with the quiet confidence that you are simply playing out the natural unfolding of what you already possess in imagination, then you have already won. Regardless of what the outer world says in this moment, you do not need to force yourself to believe, you need only to accept the reality of your wish fulfilled so completely that the outer world becomes irrelevant. You do not ask, will it happen? You know it has happened. You do not check for signs. You do not look to the world for confirmation. You carry the confirmation within, and because you do, the world will have to rearrange itself to bring about the fulfillment of what you have assumed. Can you trust in the unseen? Can you hold to your assumption even when there is no proof? Can you walk in the conviction that what you seek is already yours? If you can, then nothing, not statistics, not probability, not circumstances, can prevent it from coming into being. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are not subject to randomness. The only law at work in your life is the law of your own assumption. If you assume wealth, it must come. If you assume success, it must manifest. The outer world has no choice but to reflect back to you what you hold as true within. So before you act, before you take a step, before you allow the world to dictate what is possible, go within. Assume the feeling of already being the one who has received. Do not wait for evidence. Do not search for proof. Know that the moment you feel it real, it is done. And once it is done within, it must be done without. The world tells you that your past determines your future. It tells you that what has been will continue to be, that circumstances are fixed, that patterns repeat. But I tell you, nothing in your past has any power over you except the power you give it. You are not bound by old conditions, by past failures, by the story you have told yourself up until this moment. The only thing determining your future is the state of being in which you now dwell. Every moment, you are selecting a reality. You are choosing, through your assumptions, what will unfold in your world. If you assume that because you have never won before, you will not win now, then you have sealed your fate. If you assume that success belongs only to others, that luck has never been on your side, then the world will confirm that assumption. But if you dare to rewrite the script, if you refuse to accept the evidence of past experience and instead claim a new reality, then the world must conform to your new assumption. You are not bound by probability, nor by past outcomes, nor by what the world tells you is realistic. You are bound only by your own belief. If you believe that fortune is against you, then it is. If you believe that success is natural and inevitable, then it is. The choice is always yours, whether you are aware of it or not. Most look to the past as proof of what is possible. They say, I have never won before, so why should I win now? They believe the past is an indicator of the future, but the past exists only in memory, and memory is nothing more than imagination sustained. The moment you withdraw your attention from the past, the moment you stop giving it power, it ceases to have any hold on you. You are free to assume a new reality, and that new reality, once assumed, will harden into fact. Do not look behind you. Do not consult old failures, old struggles, old disappointments. They have no relevance to what is possible now. The only question that matters is, who are you in this moment? Not who you were yesterday, not what you have experienced before, but who you claim yourself to be now. If you wish to experience abundance, you must dwell in the state of already having it. If you wish to win, you must see yourself as the winner now, not someday, not if conditions are right, but. And the moment you claim this new state, the past loses all power. The outer world will begin to shift in ways you cannot predict, because it must align with your new assumption. There is no momentum from the past unless you keep it alive in your mind. You are never stuck, you are never repeating history unless you insist upon doing so. The moment you dare to assume something new, the moment you refuse to be defined by old circumstances, you have rewritten your story. And once you have done this in imagination, the outer world has no choice but to follow. Most people live reactively. They allow past experiences to dictate their expectations, and in doing so, they recreate the same experiences over and over. But you are not meant to be reactive, you are meant to be creative. You are the operant power, the one who decides what is true for you. You do not need permission from the past to create something new. You need only to claim it in consciousness and persist in that knowing. If you have struggled before, it does not matter. If you have failed before, it does not matter. The only thing that matters is what you assume now. The moment you shift your assumption, the world must shift to reflect it. Circumstances will rearrange, events will unfold, opportunities will arise, and you will find yourself moving effortlessly toward the fulfillment of your new belief. You are never a victim of the past, you are never trapped by what has been. The only limitations that exist are the ones you continue to accept. But the moment you dare to assume differently, the moment you refuse to accept old conditions as final, the moment you declare that a new reality is yours, then it is done. And once it is done in imagination, it must become fact. Most believe that action is the key to success, that results come from effort, from strategy, from doing more. But I tell you, action without the right state of being is useless. You do not act to make something happen, you act because it has already happened in consciousness. The world is not moved by force but by assumption. When you assume the state of already having, your actions become effortless, natural, and inspired. You are no longer struggling to create, you are simply expressing what already is. Everything flows from your state of being. If you believe that winning is difficult, that success requires struggle, then every action you take will reinforce that assumption. But if you assume that winning is natural, that abundance is effortless, then your actions will reflect that ease. The difference is not in what you do, but in the state from which you do it. Many believe they must act in order to change their circumstances, but this is an illusion. Circumstances do not create states of being create circumstances. The one who feels wealthy will act in ways that naturally lead to wealth. The one who feels like a winner will take actions that naturally bring victory, but the one who feels lack, no matter how hard they work, will only experience more lack. The cause is never in the action itself. The cause is always in the assumption behind the action. You do not need to force change in the outer world. The outer world is a mirror, reflecting back to you the state in which you dwell. If you attempt to change the reflection without changing the source, you will only find yourself frustrated, running in circles, repeating the same patterns over and over. But the moment you shift your assumption, the moment you truly feel yourself to be the one who has already received, then every action you take will be in alignment with that new state. Action is effortless when it comes from a place of knowing. The one who knows does not hesitate, does not second guess, does not ask, will this work? They move with certainty, with confidence, because they are not trying to create, they are simply expressing what already is. And because they have already assumed their success, every step they take is met with confirmation from the world. The mind, conditioned by the world, will insist that action comes first, that you must do something before you can have something. But this is the great misunderstanding. Being comes first. When you assume the state of already having, the right actions arise naturally, without effort, without struggle. You do not need to force yourself to act a certain way. Your actions will automatically reflect the state in which you dwell. The one who has already won does not act like one who is trying to win. They do not question, they do not doubt, they do not look to the world for signs. They already know it is done. And because they know, they move differently, they speak differently, they carry themselves differently, and the world, being only a reflection, must confirm their knowing. Can you act as if you have already received? Can you move through the world as one who already possesses, already enjoys, already experiences the thing you seek? If you can, then the outer world will bend to match your assumption. The right opportunities, the right connections, the right circumstances will unfold effortlessly, as if by coincidence, though it is no coincidence at all. It is simply the natural outpicturing of your inner world. Most struggle because they act from lack rather than from fulfillment. They buy a ticket hoping to win instead of knowing they have already won. They take action in desperation rather than in certainty. And because the world only reflects what is within, they experience more of the same, more hoping, more waiting, more uncertainty. But the moment they shift their inner state, the moment they act not to achieve but to express, everything changes. There is no need to force anything. There is no need to chase results. The only thing you must do is assume the state of already having, and then allow your actions to naturally flow from that state. The world does not respond to effort, it responds to belief. The one who believes does not struggle. The one who believes does not ask, will this work? They already know. And because they know, they receive. When you speak of what you desire, are you speaking with the certainty that it is already yours, or are you merely expressing a hope, a wish, a longing? Too often people speak of their desires as if they are distant, as if they are something they may or may not achieve in the future. But I tell you, when you speak of something, it must be with the authority of one who already has it. The moment you speak as though it is already yours, the world must respond in kind. The power of speech is not merely in the words themselves, but in the assumption that lies behind them. When you speak of something, are you assuming it has already been made real in your life? Or are you still speaking as though it is outside of you, waiting to come into being? The key is to speak from the place of already having, not from a place of lack or waiting. Words are the outward expression of your inner assumption. What you say, you also believe. If you speak of something as though it is already true, you reinforce your belief in it. If you speak of it as if it is something distant, unattainable, or uncertain, then you affirm that it is not yet yours. The world listens not only to your words, but to the feeling behind them. The world listens to what you truly believe, and it mirrors that belief back to you. Most people speak of their desires as though they are far off, something they might achieve if circumstances are right, if they are lucky, if they work hard enough. But the moment you speak with the certainty that it is already yours, the moment you live in the end, the world will begin to rearrange itself to match your assumption. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to belief, and belief is confirmed in speech, in the way you speak of what you desire, in the authority you claim when you declare it to be true, when you speak with conviction, when you speak as though you already have what you seek, you create a powerful impression in your own subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. It accepts what you impress upon it as true, and in doing so, it sets the forces of creation into motion. The world must begin to align itself with your assumption, for you have already decided it to be so. The world is not a passive observer of your desires. It is an active participant, constantly reflecting the assumptions you hold about it. If you speak in a way that suggests uncertainty, that suggests your desire is still far off, then the world must reflect that. But if you speak as though your desire has already been fulfilled, if you speak with the certainty of one who already possesses, then the world must also reflect that certainty. It is law. Can you dare to speak as one who already has? Can you speak of your desire as though it is already a fact, already a part of your life? When you do, you will see the world begin to shift in ways that confirm your new reality. It is not the action that brings about change, it is the assumption you hold. And your speech is a powerful reflection of that assumption. When you speak of your desire, speak with the knowing that it is already done. Speak as though there is no question, no doubt, no hesitation. Speak from a place of certainty, and you will find that the world must mirror back that certainty. It will conform to your assumption. It will show you the proof that you have already received. Most speak with uncertainty, with doubt, with the hope that things might work out. But when you speak with conviction, with authority, when you declare that your desire is already yours, you are not only impressing your subconscious mind, you are commanding the world to reflect that inner knowing. You are directing the forces of creation to bring about your assumption. And because the world is always responding to your inner state, it must bring forth the fulfillment of your desire. Do not wait for evidence to speak with certainty. The evidence will come only after you speak with certainty. Speak of your desire as if it is already a fact, and you will begin to see the evidence unfold before your eyes. Your words are not just words, they are the seeds of your creation. The moment you speak with belief, you plant that seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, and from that seed, your new reality will grow. So the next time you speak of your desire, speak with authority. Speak with the knowing that it is already yours, that it is already done. Do not speak as one who is hoping, wishing, or waiting. Speak as one who has already received. And when you do, you will find that the world will have no choice but to reflect your assumption, for the world always responds to your inner knowing. It always reflects the state of being in which you dwell, and when you dwell in the state of already having, the world must bring forth the evidence of that truth. The truth is simple. The power to shape your reality lies within you. You are not a passive observer in the world. You are the creator of your experience. Every assumption, every belief, every word you speak is a thread that weaves the fabric of your life. You are not bound by circumstances or past experiences. You are free to assume, to believe, to speak as though you already have what you desire. It is not the external world that dictates your life, but the inner world of your thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs. The world reflects back to you what you carry within. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you speak and act from a place of certainty, you become the cause of everything that manifests in your life. Do not wait for external signs. Do not look for proof from the outside. The only proof you need is the certainty you hold within. The moment you feel your desire is already fulfilled, the world must conform. It has no choice but to mirror your inner state. The law is simple. What you assume to be true, what you believe to be real, must manifest. It is only a matter of time. The power is in your hands always. The moment you decide, truly decide, that you are already the one who has received, the universe will move to align with your assumption. You are not waiting for your circumstances to change. You are the one who changes them by changing your assumptions, by speaking with certainty, and by living as though it is already so. The outer world will follow.